Ready? Call meeting order. Roll call.
Okay, Mayor Westergaard,
Yes.
Moeller,
Yes.
Woltman. Yep. Reese,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and Councilor Steinkamp will be absent.
Obviously, I have no public forum. Consent agenda. Additions or corrections?
Nope, everything's approved and ready to go.
Move to approve?
Second.
Roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Woltman.
Yep.
Reese,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Oh, wait. What if we, like, Tables, we didn't approve that? Does that mean he has to move back in? He already moved
they
out.
moved out, yeah, we called today.
Okay, ordinance 498, that's our multi-residential that we talked about last time.
Yeah, so this, basically what this does is allows the landlord to give us notice that the landlord would like to be responsible for those monthly base garbage billings instead of the customer. Right now, the customer is responsible, but the landlord could give us written notice and then it would go into his name. This is really a request from Lakeview Family Housing. They would like to operate that way.
And so moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Woltman,
Yes.
Moeller,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we waive the next two?
Yes.
Could do that.
Good.
That's no move on that.
No, second.
Roll call.
Okay, Woltman,
Yes.
Moeller,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
And then there is one more motion that finally approves it.
Roll that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah. Whatever.
Roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Woltman,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 1913, this should be the last of our seasonal employees.
Yeah, all of our seasonal employees would be hired then. We'd propose to rehire Lauren Lederer as concession and mini golf helper. And then 3 utility floaters, Garrett Bruce, Thomas Gross, and Charlie Langner. Charlie would be a rehire from last year.
Move to approve resolution 1913?
Second.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Woltman,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, the time clock. You have a preference, Scott?
Yeah, so I got a couple of different quotes here for you for these computerized time clock systems. The one from Time Management Systems, we kind of talked about it at the previous council meeting. I want to talk through this one from G-Works, and there's some information starts on page 6. Really, this G-Works has recently purchased Datatech, and Datatech is our municipal software company. So this payroll, and they call it payroll time and attendance, that's their computerized time clock. So we could purchase this module. Folks would punch in and out on a laptop computer, and it goes straight into this module, which interfaces directly with our payroll system then. So that's the biggest really selling point about this, is that we already have their products. They are really good products, and this would be something that actually eliminates some work for us as far as data entry for payroll.
Looks simpler too. To me.
The two programs that I would show you were real similar,
Yeah.
but you just punch in on a computer. I think real similar to
That's
what
what we do at
used to.
school.
Yeah.
Got a number and then,
And then that interfaces directly with our payroll system.
yeah.
So, some of the nice points about this G-Works program are on page 6 and 7, and then the dollars for both of the programs are on page 8 and 9, but I guess I'd take a look on the dollars in that council memo on page 2. Just know that the initial cost of this Datatech and G-Works program, $3,200, and the annual fees, there are annual fees on that. There are for all of our municipal software, there's annual fees. But the annual fees on this module will be $460. Time management, you can see the initial cost is about the same, $3,266, and their annual fees were a little higher at $1,200. So, I would recommend that we would get into this G-Works program, and, but,
That's good.
I'd make a motion to do that. I think that'd be, to me, it's a lot simpler than trying to have a few.
uh-oh.
She's been trying to say something, but.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
Just the mobile phone, we were making.
You just haven't heard me be quiet that long, have you?
Okay.
We're gonna call 911. The mobile phones, we would be able to not have that on mobile phones.
True.
'Cause
And
I
so
don't
that'll
like
be,
that idea.
really that'll be the part two of what we discuss here would be our policy.
Okay.
So, yeah, we will define that in our policy, it only has some.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Move to second, we have roll call.
So this is, yeah, that we would purchase the Datatech G-Works program. Okay, Reese,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay, downtown assessment.
Nope, we need to go through that policy, John.
Oh, you wanna do that?
Yeah,
thought
it
we
starts
read
on
that.
page 10.
I read that already.
This would be a standard operating procedure about using the time clock then. So, this is the same policy that we reviewed 2 meetings ago with a handful of changes in there. And I just want to highlight those changes then for you. If you'd slip down to the clock locations, we had removed where it had previously said parks, shop, or library. So you could clock in at 3 locations then: maintenance shop, Camp Crescent office, City Hall. Okay, the next section down talks about using, this ends up being tenths of an hour, then every 6 minutes would is how we would round. And then there's 3 minutes grace. So you can see how that would work. If somebody shows up, you can punch in 2 or 3 minutes before your time, or you could punch in at 3 minutes after, and you would still punch in then at 8 o'clock. See, I know there was some concern before that I had a 15-minute round in there, and this allowed for some fluctuation, but this was also then a suggested way to go. It basically is in every tenth of an hour then instead of quarter hours. So, interested in your thoughts on that?
So, well, I'm good with that. I just have a question that I couldn't remember. So Scott, this will then flow to you, whereas before what, you had timesheets handed in to you?
Right, yep, so the department head would receive the timesheets from their employees. The department head approves the timesheets, and then they come to me.
And so then Bill signed off of them, or whoever it was?
Bill, Royce, yep, Ruth?
Okay, and so then they brought them to you, and so now they won't need to do that. They will sign off on them on the computer in some manner, and then it just flows to you?
Yes, that's correct, yep.
Alright.
This also means then that we're inputting time off in there too, so the department heads do have some obligation on this, because they're in there putting in the time off requests, as well as authorizing overtime.
But like this overtime deal, that, I know that's getting a little ahead here, but like, it'd say like, they have to, you know, somebody has to approve that. What if, say, a water line breaks at 5:45 or something like, or 5:45 or whatever?
Sure, yeah.
Then what?
There certainly is those instances where we know that it's needed, you know, and the department head would authorize that, you know, would
Right.
actually instruct them, then they're working late.
You're right. Well,
But
that's
they
what I was wondering.
don't go ahead and work overtime without it being authorized by their department head?
True, yeah, they don't now either, so, and that's not a change in policy.
Okay, alright.
Flipping to the next page, just that top paragraph, last sentence of that top paragraph on page 11, where it says employees who punch in late or punch out early. that previously made some reference to excessively doing that. Now, this would have a definition, being punching in or out more than 2 times per calendar month, that they would be subject to disciplinary action. So, interested in your thoughts on that.
I think it sounds good, personally. I, really, unless they need overtime or have to come in early, which would be justified, you know, but otherwise it shouldn't happen, really.
Well, this is, in this instance, it's saying, you know, it's 5 minutes till starting time, and somebody punches in, that would be punching in early. You know, they
Yeah,
come
but
and
if
punch
they
in 3
punch
minutes.
in 7:58,
Yep,
then it just goes to, if they do within 6 minutes, then they can, it's okay.
yeah, 3 minutes either side of,
Right.
of where they're supposed to be.
And I think it's kinda like going to work at the same time, you can't all punch in at the same time, but you,
Yeah, this, like I said, this statement had previously just said punching in or out late excessively. And so I changed that to include a number. And the number that I chose to include was 2 times per month.
And I'd say it could be governed by the department head if he
I
thinks
think so too.
Yeah.
I think,
employees will come in 5 minutes at a schedule every day or whatever, and punch in.
I think that ain't any
Going to work.
different than any other.
I'm not gonna,
So did you consult with the department heads on this? Are they all agreeable that 2 times a month is reasonable?
Now, we did not do this. I tell you, I did it yesterday, Vicki. But,
Okay. Well, it sounds reasonable to me.
We don't ever have an issue, do we, Bill? But they're there when they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's just gonna document it.
Yeah.
But they will have to wait to check in, if they're there before 7:58, they might have to wait a minute or two, or a minute sometimes.
I don't know how long it takes, Scott, to check in.
well, you guys would know that, yeah, you punch in your code and you hit the
That's
button.
it?
Just 2 lines,
15 seconds,
All right.
yeah.
unless the computer's slow.
I don't think it even takes us that long out there. You know, that's Jan, you know, that's.
Oh, is that what it is?
I had a question.
The
It says,
processor up here, though.
it says that the payroll clerk can make changes if needed during the time pay entry processing.
Yes.
So if that were to happen, is the department head or the supervisors also notified of that change that might take place? Or not?
Yeah, I guess they would have to be. Payroll clerk in this instance.
I mean, because they're
would be-
signing off ahead of time before this comes to you, basically.
Mhm.
So if there's any other changes to be made on your end, you would at least notify the supervisor.
True, yeah, if I changed the type of leave that was used or
Right.
something like that, yeah,
Okay.
sure.
I mean, it works great. For example, today, about 3 o'clock, we had an ambulance call, and we ended up on Lake City, and then we had to go up to Sac for supplies, and I didn't clock out at school, so I called Jennifer at school and asked her if she'd clock me out at 3 o'clock. Simple as that.
Mhm.
They know everybody's code.
Well, yeah, her and John do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way this would set up is that Bill would know the codes of his employees, okay? And he'd be able to get in there and manipulate things as need be. The same thing with Ruth. Okay, again, this is not proposed to be used for the police department. Yeah, but then I would have knowledge of everybody's codes and could go in there and change it.
That's when if we have a problem with, we call our supervisor, Phil.
You have a question, Dale?
What happens if the department head's gone? They just go to you then? Or-
Yeah, they sure could. They would have to. That would be the only other person to be able to input their stuff.
Usually if Bill's gone, Jeff's usually in charge, isn't he?
Jeff won't have.
Whoever, he won't have the numbers.
We don't have
Clearances
the
for that,
numbers.
no.
So we'll have to just make that, we'll have to get hold of you.
Yep.
Well, that's who I call him, you're gone. That's,
You got the most seniority.
that, yeah.
Mhm.
Just any other changes, just jumping down to the 3rd paragraph of the missed punches and adjustments, that talks about how you're adjusting all that stuff. But again, if they missed punches, that we define that again as 2 times per calendar month. So the first one we talked about was clocking in or out early or late, and this next one would just be missing punches, and defining that as 2 times per month.
Sounds good.
And then just the last changes then are on page 12, just the bottom 3 bullets. Again, just change those, what had said excessive, had now say the 2 missed punches or the 2 early or late punches. The bottom bullet had said excessive unauthorized overtime, and it just took out excessive so that it just only refers to unauthorized overtime.
And, but then every employee will get a copy of this.
Yeah, this will be a standard operating procedure that everybody will have to acknowledge that they've received.
You know.
So, here's what I would, what would happen is if the council's on board with the contents of the policy, we would give this to the union for their 14-day review, and then upon 14 days, I'd probably bring it back to the council for formal implementation.
Oh,
So Scott, what is the standard that you do when you have a new SOP like this and you give it to the employees and they review, and I assume they initial it or in some manner
Yeah, they have signed them.
sign the document, and then you put it in their personnel file?
We do, yep.
Yes.
So we just have to wait till we get a response from the union?
Yeah, that would be the next step, you know. We'll give the 14-day notice to the union.
so anything they don't like, they can say, huh?
You know, it's an interesting thing, Terry, because they're entitled to 14 days of review. Okay, it does not say that they're entitled to
Change.
policy alteration, you know, or anything like that.
So right now, you're just looking for us to give the go-ahead, to go ahead and send it off to the union for.
Yep. Yep, so, yeah, that's what I would like to do, and it actually works out fine with the timing of the purchase of the program anyway, which is, you know, several weeks of lead time, potentially 2 months, because they do come here then and set up a custom program that jives with all of our policies then. So they are able to tweak their program so that the 6-minute thing will be in there in the policy.
So you need a motion?
Yeah, if we can,
So
I'll second it.
Roll call.
approve to send it off to the union?
I just have one quick question. You said they come here, I took it they don't come there, so they do come there?
what's that mean?
For the setup,
On-site.
on-site setup.
You know what, I'm not really sure if they come out here to on-site set up a special one like this or not. When we purchased all of their programs, they were out here for a couple days. It was quite an undertaking.
But you're already kind of set up with them.
Well,
other than
and they can
this
do a
one.
lot of the stuff online anymore,
Yeah.
so.
Because it says done remotely at the rate of $125 an hour.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, okay, all right.
Ready for the
Ready
roll
for the
call?
vote?
Yep.
Okay, Boltman.
Yep.
Moeller.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Now I want to do the potential incentives.
Yeah, I want to have some discussion on, these are really the same 3 things that we talked about at the previous council meeting as far as ideas for business incentive. And that's really one of my specific questions that I would ask of you to think about is, as we think of this, and in terms of hopefully coming up with some notions that we can present to the downtown business owners during our downtown assessment. So the question would be, would these be incentives for a specific downtown geographic area, or would it just be citywide incentives for any type of businesses? So I guess just kind of keep that in mind as we talk through this. We wanted to go through the revolving loan fund, and I guess the 3 things that we talked about at the previous meeting was really reinvigorating our revolving loan fund. And that may just be really getting the word out there about it again, letting people know that it's available. It is available and it's fully funded right now. So that was first thing. Second thing was a program dealing with signs And then another thing that I had really kind of pitched to you was this idea about a micro grant program. So, but I want to go through the administrative rules of that revolving loan fund. It's on page 13. And go through, this is the second paragraph from the bottom where it's talking about eligible uses for commercial businesses. So businesses could get a loan from our revolving loan fund, and these are the specific things that they could use it for. Okay? Facade improvements, awnings, signs, brick cleaning and tuck pointing, windows and doors, kick plate replacement, painting, and slip cover removal. Okay, and then it specifically says that revolving loans may not be used for roofing projects. So, my first question to you is then, are you still wanting to have those types of uses on the revolving loan fund? And then, you know, as we think about any other ones, should those uses be the same as what we allow in the revolving loan funds?
So like this, $10,000, but that's the only $10,000 we have, right?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, so if somebody borrows $10,000 of it, we won't have it for anybody else, right?
Right. But now, we do have rules on that, and the maximum loan is $5,000. So,
Two people could.
two people could do it. Yeah. And this has been in place, Terry, for, you know, it was amended in 14, and it's been in place several years before that. So say it was, it's been in place for 10 years or more, and it's been used twice.
Well, I can believe that.
You know, it's, because it is just a revolving loan fund. You know, they gotta turn around, repay that. The repayment period is over 18 months. Although the interest rate's very attractive, it's at 0.5%.
Well, I'm not so sure that, you know, maybe we shouldn't increase that amount they can get, but that's a discussion. But my question about, it says that you can't use them for roofing projects, so that's okay, but then how does that coincide with the nuisance abatement? What if you've given them a nuisance abatement and the roof is falling down and that's part of the nuisance? Then you're not going to let them use this for that? Because it doesn't, because the next paragraph on nuisance abatement doesn't really say that.
True. You know,
It's just something I think you might want to look at or clarify.
when we had last amended this in 2014, that was one of the things that was added, was the notion that folks could use this for nuisance abatement, because we knew that we were having some folks who were having, you know, financial difficulties to be able to pay to get their nuisances tended to. So we thought this would help. It has not been used for that. It has never been used for nuisance abatement. And when I pulled this thing out, I truthfully had kind of forgotten about that it was there and available. But, because we never pitched this to people as far as alternatives about how they could fund their nuisance abatement. But yeah, if we gave somebody a nuisance notice about a structure that needed to have some roofing work, you know, I guess I would certainly argue that it would be, the nuisance abatement part of this policy would allow for that to be done.
Okay.
When was that, I mean, I know you said it was amended in 2014, but when was the last time we actually put a push on making this information available to people in the community?
Yeah, you know, and that might be put a newsletter article out and that type of stuff, and that happens, you know, it's probably been a couple of years since we've done that even, so.
And once a year probably kind of thing.
Yeah. So
And
we've
I
never
just
done
might make
a,
it part of the newsletter.
I remember though, the first year, I think I was on the board, the council we did,
okay,
Yeah, well, because
you know.
Tim Laney
Tim has done a couple of them.
got it when we did it.
So, how are we tied to the $10,000? Is that something that we can change on an annual basis, or we can't change it, or we could relook at that, or what?
Well, it's in our policy that says we have $10,000 available in the pot. And it's there in its own separate little line item, and it's there and it's all available. think it's like $9,970. But,
So
but-
again, can we change it?
You
Are we
could.
able- I just wanna know what we're able to do.
so if, it would just be a policy amendment. If you decided you wanted to have more money in there, you know, it would just be a policy amendment to do that.
But they can still only use 5,000.
Yeah, so everything included in these administrative rules, that's the, those are the rules for operating the loan fund.
But the council has the right to amend them.
Yeah, it would be that you'd have to formally amend the rules.
And the work has to be done before they ever get the money, right? I would hope.
That,
With
they
receipts.
do need to provide receipts.
Mhm.
That's all part of the deal.
Right.
That they provide receipts. Okay, so, you know, the basis part of this is that the city would fund up to 2/3 of a project. It still requires 1/3 from the building owner. The city could fund 2/3. It's at, interest rate is 0.5%, and then the repayment is monthly over 18 months.
Because I don't want to take off, go to Texas, you know, with money or
Okay. So I guess what, you know, as you think about our revolving loan fund, is there anything that you would like to change about it, I guess?
I really ought to, I think we ought to just see where it's gonna go, and if we,
Just advertise it that it's out there.
Yeah,
I think
because-
we need to do more
Yeah, and that's,
publicity and let
so again,
people know it's
we want to
there.
do this downtown business owners meeting on April 22nd. Okay, so we would invite all of the downtown business owners, probably here to City Hall, and we would review that downtown assessment, review that survey that we had done of our business owners after the downtown assessment with the 8 responses, and then talk about ways that we can encourage folks to do some of the suggestions that were in that study. And that is largely some building improvements, but there's some other things about, you know, have the businesses accept credit cards, make sure that they post all of their hours so that people at least know where they're open, you know, there's lots of other,
so what time do you
Suggestions.
think
pardon me?
What time's the meeting?
I would guess we'd probably do 7 o'clock on the 22nd.
Well,
But as we go to that meeting, I'd like to be able to talk with them about potential business incentives. So one of them would be that we re-energize the revolving loan fund. We want to make sure that everybody's fully aware that that's out there, and there's the opportunity. But those other 2 things that I talked about, maybe a signed grant program and a, just what I've called a micro grant, just to, it helps out with just some dollars to help them out with a small project, and they would have to be able to match that. So I guess first of all, on the sign program, I had hoped to have some more information on types of signage, how much those things might cost, what the cost share might be on that. Anyway, I don't have a lot of that stuff prepared. But I'm working with Brandy from SETD to get some examples on sign programs.
But the sign is also included under your, RFL, right?
Yep, signs are available for revolving loan fund. And then depending on how we would define usage, if we proceeded down this idea of a micro grant, signs could certainly be eligible there too. So just on this micro grant, you know, I guess I just see this as something pretty easy to attain, easy to administer. That if somebody had a project relating to their building, I think it still ought to do with a physical improvement to their building, that the city would have this small grant to anyone who would apply. So just say like the city every year would earmark $10,000 for a micro grant project, and if the city would say, yep, any eligible applicant for an eligible project would get $1,000 grant, so long as they match that with the first $1,000. And that would just be and like I say, an easy to apply for, easy to administer way to incentivize people to make some, what would be smaller improvements then to their buildings.
So then that would be something didn't have to pay back.
True.
The grant.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I just don't believe in that. We've been in business in 30 years, nobody ever gave me nothing on Main Street.
Right, things do change.
So do I. Getting older.
Oh,
So they wouldn't have to pay it back, but they'd have to match,
You gotta match it.
match it.
Yes.
Actually, I think there was less money 30 years ago than there is today.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
Just that everything costs more.
Right.
Sure. I'm interested in your feedback just on the general concept of,
I'm in favor of the general concept. I'm not sure about the amounts that are there, but, you know, I think as a council, we have some responsibility to independently, each of us look at what other communities are doing to bring in businesses. And I'm not so sure that we're doing that. And capitalism isn't what it was 25 years ago. And I think we have to be more open. If you know, it humors me now when I see people refer to, why didn't you do something with the Lakewood? Because at the time the Lakewood was going under, I didn't hear anybody say they were in favor of helping out the Lakewood. And now you hear people say, well, why didn't the city do something for the Lakewood? So I'm just saying, times have changed. And if you want this community to grow and to at least sustain itself and not lose ground, because our population's gone down, I can give you stats on how many businesses we've lost in just the last 20 years. I think we just have to think outside of the box, and you have to be aware of what other communities are doing. And I think we each have to do that. We have to do some research on it.
But also look at how many of these bigger cities, like Fort Dodge, their mall's closing. Merle Hay's gonna tear the mall down. You know, we're sitting in that era where people wanna buy out of a book, you know.
They're buying Amazon, they're not buying.
Right.
that
You know,
brick and mortar building.
So I don't know if that's gonna help anything to bring, I mean, sure, we can try, but I don't know if that's, I don't know how much money I still think we need to look for investors rather than, I don't think the city can be a bank. You know, I think that somebody has to be a banker, but I don't think the city's in business to be a banker. We have enough, you know, like streets and water hydrants and fire hydrants, you know, shut-offs that all need to be fixed. Our streets, we got a lot of streets that need to be fixed, and if we put all our money into, you know, I could see a revolving fund, but I can't see giving money to people. I just can't see that.
Well, so you don't think that incentives are bringing businesses into town?
A revolving fund, but I would be against,
I understand that, but my question is that, do you think other communities are using incentives to try to get businesses into their
No.
community in order to have more employees, more businesses, more traffic, which all generates into your general fund?
no, I don't.
You don't think
I
other
think
communities are
it's-
doing anything?
I really don't. I think it's personal money.
Breda gave away half a block to Trophies Plus.
Yeah,
They flat out just gave it to them.
but they have one, the bank.
I think there's a lot of smaller communities that are our size that are doing more and more incentives.
But it's different giving a half a block than a half a building.
Okay, yeah, they tore down the buildings and gave them an empty block.
Yeah. I mean, I can see tearing down an old house and somebody building a building,
Right. Yeah,
but I
that,
can't see where we wanna finance such a thing. I just can't see that, you know, to be able to finance. I don't think we're capable right now with the sewer project and, you know,
but we're talking 2,500 or a couple $1,000 for it.
that's what I'm saying, this revolving fund, to me, is fine, but I can't see where we're, you know, where you wanna put money out that you're not gonna get back.
Yeah, I guess the, you know, the argument, Terry, is that,
That you are gonna get it
you
back.
do get it back through, eventually through increased valuations, and even if it's not just increased valuation, just viability of the business,
Yeah.
is good for the community. You know, I guess those are the arguments for it.
Well,
Well, anyway, I would like to see the whole thing move forward. I'd like, you know, we need to get these incentives nailed down and get them up and going so that businesses can use them. So, whatever, I think if we get some input from the business community about what they think would help them, I just think we need to come with a plan, and then I guess the council will vote. Each council person will vote how they think on that, whatever plan we end up presenting.
Hopefully we get some input from this meeting that night from the business.
Well, I guess that was,
That's our big thing.
yeah, that was, I guess maybe a question to you. I thought that it would be great if we could come to the meeting with at least one or two things that we could pitch to the property owners as options.
Right.
But the other way to look at that, though, is to say, you know, we're having these discussions now, but we would really like to know what is, in what ways could the community assist you? And seek input through that meeting instead of offering programs right away.
Yeah, I like that idea, and you get a feel for what they're looking at, because maybe, how many businesses do we have? I mean, maybe none of them are looking for.
Well, they did do that survey.
What?
Yeah, we do have that survey. They said there was a handful of folks who had some pending
Yeah,
projects.
not many.
Right, but it would be nice to sit down with them in a group and be able to discuss what their needs are.
so would like that, we didn't get that survey.
Yeah, we went through that at
Yes. We did.
Last meeting.
the last meeting. Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, I can review that at the meeting on the 22nd. I guess I would like the council to put that on your personal agendas and try to attend that meeting. I think that'd be a good thing to.
That's probably.
I've got a couple comments that people
Oh,
have
hi.
said, if you'd like to hear them.
Okay.
People are tired of us spending money, period. They think we've got our hands full with the sewer plant and the whole business, you know, they think we're spending enough money and too much money. And then the other one is, I like the way our town is now. So some people don't want our town to grow.
No, some of them don't want change.
No, so I just wanna bring that up, you know. People say that to me once in a while. I try to stay out of Sparky's.
But the
Yeah.
sewer plant is something that needed to be done. I mean, you're not gonna be able to get around that.
Well, I realize that, but the only thing is, we got a lot of catching up to do. That's a big bill for 30
It
years.
is.
30 years.
Yeah,
You got enough stuff for that meeting now? You're comfortable for that night?
Yeah, we'll have some stuff to present.
You're not where you wanna be, are you?
Well, no, it'd be great that we could say, we got a new program we're rolling out and we'd like to introduce that to you. But also if you're saying, hey, we're thinking about doing this, is this something that would help? You get ideas about whether folks might be interested in that or not.
They may be looking at something completely different that we haven't even thought of.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Sure.
You might be going down
Well,
one road, they're already looking at it.
You can't make everybody happy, and
No.
you can't have two people tell you to spend money and two people tell you not to spend money and know that you have a good cross-section of the community. You know, it's tough, so you have to do what you think is best for the community from the feedback that you get, and do your research on what you think is gonna make this community grow, because the people that don't want it to grow also don't want it to fall apart, but sometimes that's not easy to do that. We have businesses that I think would like to come to this community, and we need to come up with some kind of, just like these things Scott's got, just things that will help them. And again, the housing committee, has been mulling that over. I mean, look at what Wall Lake's doing.
Okay, yep.
We'll see what we do. You wanna tell us about the cleanup day?
I want to ask you whether you would like to do cleanup day again. On page 16 is what we have done for the past several years, using that type of arrangement. I have talked with Rudd about whether they're available, but basically the same days. This year it would be Monday, Tuesday, May 6th and 7th. I know we've had some discussion in the past about making changes, and we haven't chose to, but do we want to do a cleanup day, and if so, how would you like to do it?
I think the public expects us to do it. If we
Yep.
change, then it confuses them. I just leave it the way it is. Rudd does 75% of the cleanup anyway.
From the city employee perspective, this arrangement has worked out pretty good, because we only go around to pick up the bulk items after Rudd's been around to pick everything up. And his crew does the lion's share of the work on this. So it works out pretty well.
You want a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll make a motion that we make cleanup day, May 6th and 7th,
7 and 8.
with the same procedure we've used in the past.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Roll call.
Is it the 7th and 8th? Is that what it is?
6th and 7th.
It'd be the 6th and 7th, Monday and Tuesday.
The 7th and 8th was last year,
Oh, okay.
Sounds
so it'll be 6th and 7th this year.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Roll call.
Okay, Voltman,
Yes.
Reese, Bowler,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Just a couple of other things for you. As far as mosquito spraying, we need to have some employees who would be interested in getting a mosquito spraying license. Jeremy Behrens is interested in getting a mosquito spraying license. Gonna go test for that here in the next few days.
We'll put it in the back of the police car.
Why not?
That's why we're on anyway.
That's why I have pickups.
But not the Durango. We'll put it there.
Steve Mulbauer has indicated that he would go take the exam too. So Steve, our Summer Parks guy, and then Nancy Mulbauer was talking about this. So Nancy might be interested in taking that exam also. And then also Mayor Westergaard had thrown around the idea. But
So what do they get paid then?
our regular hourly wage
Okay.
for a full-time employee though, it is all overtime hours.
I know.
That's about
But
2 hours.
it's only 2 hours
Yeah.
basically each time. So.
But we're not gonna do any other plans.
No.
I mean, we're just gonna do.
No,
our
we're just
own.
doing Lakeview.
Yeah, okay,
And they can spray their own mosquitoes.
yeah.
The State of Iowa's Rural Development Summit is next week, and that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, Mayor Westergaard and Councilor Moeller and I, we are a 3-member team that's going to this Rural Development Summit. And that's where we get this good news about that downtown grant. We'll hear about that. So, and then last thing, Sac County League is this Thursday then, so it's April 4th. Now, they have changed the location, so it's at Dolly's. Okay? So,
Was it actually at Dollar's?
it is at Dolly's.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's at 7? 7.
That's just.
Yeah, 6:30 for social time, 7 for dinner. So, yeah, I'm looking for a head count. Terry, are you thinking about it?
2, yeah.
2?
Yeah, one couple.
Mayor, 2. Tammy?
I have a prior engagement.
All right. Very good. That is it.
Hey,
Wait.
I have a question.
Yes.
I didn't know how to ask this or when to ask it, but these building permit applications, how would the council be willing to, or how would we go about changing the divisions that we have for the cost of the permit?
In case they forgot to tell us the truth, the building actually costs twice what they tell us.
Right.
And
It
she
is,
doesn't-
it's just a resolution of the council to establish the permit fees.
Well, I would like us to go to a flat fee instead of this division thing. Or I guess I just think we ought to talk about it at some point. I don't know if we should talk about it at this meeting or the next meeting or whenever. Or if anybody else has concerns of, that, you know, that it's not a very good system.
How about we put it on the agenda, we'll talk about it as an agenda item next council meeting.
Yeah, it's a good
Okay,
idea.
thank you.
So what's your thoughts about returning up north?
Are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there for the
Yeah.
next meeting.
It's gonna be in the 70s this year.
She didn't sound very enthusiastic.
Oh, boy, I guess not.
Well, there is a chance of snow tonight, so,
Yeah.
For Wyoming or here?
here,
Here.
As a guess or a forecast?
forecast.
But we're only supposed to get about an hour.
Motion to adjourn,
So vote.
second,
I'll second that. Doesn't matter.
meeting adjourned.